Hello friends, I'm sorry it got a bit delayed. I think I'm live now. So, how was today? I think today was a very red day for many of us, including our own portfolio. But no worries yet. I think we'll go through all this. But if your portfolio was in the green today, unlike most of us, then do give a thumbs up and let me know if your portfolio was in green, right? Otherwise, I'll see if I'm planning to cover a few things today so that we don't really most of us would be in a panic mode, and a lot of people on Twitter are also kind of throwing a lot of panic comments. So I'm kind of like going to take some time today, and I'm going to cover some of the charts that we need to look at, right? I still feel tomorrow could be the deciding day. If we have a strong sell-off tomorrow, then probably it might be a very bad sign. But let's look at the charts, and also we look at how we're going to trade from tomorrow. Now that we have so many stop losses hit, and we'll also look at what's up current cash, and then we'll take it from there, right? So I think so if we have time, we'll take up stock questions. But if you have any strategy related questions, like what should you be doing at this point and all that, then we will cover that. I'd be more than happy to cover that, because many of you would be having a deep red portfolio today, right? So hey everyone, hi Shiv, hi Dinesh, hi Santosh, hi Vijay, hi Rahul, hi Akash, hi Satish, hi Bhumik. Okay, so we have 22 and let's get started, right? So today was again a doji day. So the markets have literally gone sideways for the last 4 days. So Nifty is not showing any sign of weakness. So Nifty is still kind of stable, but the sell-off has come in all of this stocks, right? Especially small cap and mid cap. Now, if you see, this sell-off has been ruthless. So we accept that one day we've had continuous red days. And do remember, I've already drawn this chart and I've shared this on Twitter. I'm just going to move this aside for now. So I've already drawn this chart and I've shared this on Twitter, right? And so we are seeing a sell-off right now. That's the point, right? So if you connect this point in mid cap, right, and that's the resistance there, and from here if you connect, that's probably another resistance there. So looking at the charts, anyone can tell now that we are seeing the first month where the candle is forming red candle. Even in CNX small cap, we are forming a red candle this week, right, this month. So right at the resistance zone. So that's the major problem, and I highlighted this last week also, and that's the reason why we are seeing that crazy sell-off. And usually in small caps and mid caps, the liquidity is kind of low, right? So people like us hold probably 5% of the entire small cap and the mid cap stocks. Most of the stocks are held by promoters and big institutions. So when there is panic in the markets, it's people like us who are selling, and we're just dumping the shares at whatever price we get. And probably there is some also sell-off from institutions, right? But just looking at this chart, I'm going to plot the 50-day moving average, right? So if you are aware of moving average, then you see that every time the stock comes around this point here, right, we reverse. Then again we reversed here, again we reversed there, right? Again we reversed here, again we reversed around this moving average, and we are right around this point. And if you see what happened in the last few minutes, we kind of reversed from exactly that 50-day moving average, right? So I think if we don't go below this, probably I think we'll still be safe. So today's low is very important. So tomorrow we should see probably bounce back, and I expect that bounce back to happen tomorrow. But otherwise, just from a trend line perspective, I've already drawn this trend line I've shown you, right? So if you see, this is the trend line that I'm watching from that point. So probably we might reverse tomorrow. This is still a probability, right? So you can also extend this, but it will not be perfect. That's why I keep my trend line there, and I'm kind of watching that point. So this is a perfect, if this reverses tomorrow, probably little bit we might come down, probably again test this trend line, but 10,000 should be a very strong support for the mid cap index itself. And if we don't come below 10,000, which is also the 50-day moving average, then probably we won't head much lower. But for me, the worry is that strong sell-off. We're not seeing a green candle at all, right? So right from top, we are just having strong red candles. So even if we have a bounce, probably we might again take some more time before we head higher. Now that's also, if you see, we had two demand wicks there, and we kind of reversed from that zone. Now, even if we go higher, I think that we might see a sell-off and then probably come down and consolidate for a few days and then head higher. So this is what we might be doing, right? So we might go up, then come down, up, then down, and then probably we might go. That's one of the probabilities. Otherwise, if we don't come tomorrow, if we don't reverse, then probably we're going to go down, right? So that's the view. But why you should not be looking at the small cap and mid caps index is something else that I wanted to cover, because there can be so many stocks that you're holding right now. For example, let's take a consignor lag, right? So even though all of stop loss is hit, consignor lag stop loss wasn't hit. Now, if you see, this hasn't had that a great sell-off. So, that's down 1.78%, right? And there are so many other stocks which I will be showing you in my list today, like Lakshmi Chemicals, right? To see the stock, it's still showing strong, nice strength. It's still going ahead. If you take a Ipca Lab, just going to open Ipca Lab. So these are stocks that I have been looking at today in the scanner. Again, this has had a nice move. It also had a nice breakout, right? So that's the probably cup and handle breakout, right? We've seen this breakout over here. And there are many such stocks which you might be holding, like for example, a Bharti Airtel. Now the chart that I posted today was Bharti Airtel. It was a 6 half-yearly chart. Now Bharti Airtel is also forming a cup and handle, right? If you just go to the monthly chart, you will clearly see that this area is a cup and handle pattern. If you go to the weekly, you probably see that better, right? So this is a cup and that's a handle, and we are probably breaking out now, and this is a 6-month chart that I shared today. And if you see, right, so that's the chart which I shared today. So we kind of reversed in the first half of 2020, and the last 1 year, basically, that was a nice reversal, and we're trying to probably break out from this zone. Now, a lot of people are saying there is a shift from small cap to large caps. I have no idea whether it's happening or not, but you can see some of the stocks which are showing up in the scanner today are large cap stocks, right? Like Ipca Laboratories is not a large cap stock, a mid cap stock, but this Cummins, Siemens, all these are good stocks, and they are showing signs of moving higher from here. But another sector that I want to look at is metal, because metals had a crazy sell-off today. And if you go to the daily charts in metal, you will see again that we are reversing right from the trend line, right? So if you see this trend line, I've already shared this trend line multiple times. So this is the first point, second point, third point, fourth point, and fifth point. Now tomorrow, if we break down from here, then probably, we are heading lower, and this support should take respect. So tomorrow, even if you break down tomorrow, 5,400 is the level that you want to watch out for. And if you go below 5,400, then probably that's a false breakout. And yesterday someone asked me how to identify false breakouts. Now you can't really tell until the price comes back again inside, right? But the real sell-off in metals probably would come only below this zone, right? So below this zone and this zone, right? So if we go below, if you break the trend line tomorrow, be cautious. And then if you go below 4,900, that's when we're going to have some serious sell-off happening in metals, right? But a lot of metal stocks have shown some really good correction today. For example, a sale, right? If you see, right, we are around that support. Just delete the rest. We're right around that support over there. The same like Nifty metal index, right? CNX metal. So I'd say continue to hold your stocks with your stop loss, and that's the only way to hold on to the strongest stocks in your portfolio. If the stop loss hits, please exit. It doesn't really matter. Don't lose money. As I always say, it's our hard-earned money, and we don't want to just give it to markets which doesn't even control us. At least give it to your house, give it to your family or someone else, but don't give it to markets. Markets is just controlled by millions of people, and you don't want to just give your money to someone else, right? And also a lot of people are saying, fundamental investors are saying that you should not worry if you're holding quality stocks. I really don't believe in all that. If a stock is going to break a support on the weekly time frame, if you're an investor, follow the weekly time frame. And if this support is going to break here, then we're going to see a good correction probably until 80 odd levels or somewhere in middle, right? But why take that unnecessary loss when you know that it's going to go down, right? If you want to add it again when it goes up, but you should have the guts to add it again when it's going up, right? That's the problem that we have. We kind of book losses, and then once it starts going higher, we don't enter that again if we want to enter. Also, we don't book losses also. That's one of the biggest. So today I had this experience with one of the followers. So on a 1 lakh capital, they had a 50,000 loss. Now that's impossible. Now that was in the case of Upper Industries. right? Now, don't invest in a stock just because I'm telling, right? So try to find the perfect level where your risk could be 1% of your capital. Now, I'll also show the journal today. Now, after hitting almost, we've taken 10 trades till now, and we've had, just 3 trades in profits. We had 7 trades in losing trades, and we still lost overall just 734 rupees, right? Now, that's how you need to trade. There's no other way to trade. Right now, how did we ensure that we lost only so much? It's because we had a strict stop loss, and if you see, most of the stocks have gone down after we exited. Right, there's not probably a single stock which has gone above. Now, markets will have to tell you which stock you should enter and which stock you should exit. So please, if you are trading based on my advice, I'm telling this 100 times: do not risk more than 1% of your capital. That's the only way you can save your money from markets. That's the only way you will not regret later. Right, and if you're still learning, you will realize this at some point, and you'll learn it automatically. I don't have to teach you this. Markets will teach you the lesson, but for now, that's what I wanted to focus on. Right, so stick to initial stop losses, and if it hits, then just get out. That's simple as that. And focus on strong stocks and try to pyramid the strongest stocks so that you kind of make the returns. Now, for example, let's say if I think I've explained pyramiding already. Let's say if Consumer Relax goes higher from here, then probably add more stocks of Consumer Relax so that you kind of build up positions in the strongest stocks. Now, I in my personal portfolio, I've added something like Nifty Laboratories today. I've added Network 18, and don't forget to watch that video. This is a video that I posted. Stop loss is 45. Again, if you have money, just don't dump all the money here. Try to take a proper position size so that you know where you're going to sell. Because you can dream about 250% returns, 300% returns, all that you can dream, but if the stock doesn't go higher, then there's no use. So stop loss is always first. Manage your risk, and that's the only way you can save your capital. Okay, so let's move on to Nifty Outlook for today. I will take up your questions related to your strategies and all that, but let's just quickly look at Nifty, and then we have some nice stocks to look at in our Trade with Trendline Investor series, and we look at that. Now, again, if you see here, what has Nifty done is Nifty has again kind of broken down, and then we kind of retested, and then we again coming down. Now, this is called an extended trend line retest. So this is an extended trend line, and it goes retests that point, and it comes down again. Now, yesterday we spoke about multiple plans. One of the plan was to go long if you break out from this point, and we broke out, and even if it gone long, you'd have probably hit stop loss. Right, so even if it had gone long, you should have probably exited around there or somewhere here. Right, so morning it was a proper long setup. You could have gone long either here, or you could have gone long at open itself, but your stop loss would have been deep. And as I always say, if you have a gap up opening and if the stop loss is too deep, don't enter the stock directly, and kind of wait for that dip to happen. So you could have gone long here and kept a stop loss there, and then trail your stop loss to this point once we hit at that point, right? And then you could have probably exited at this point over here, and then you could have gone short also, because this was again a lower high lower low formation, right? And now what has happened is that we've broken this trend line. Here, and now we've kind of retested that point, this extended line over here. We've retested this point, and we're kind of heading lower. So the plan for tomorrow is you can short right now at this level. So tomorrow, if you open flat to negative, keep a stop around 16,294 or 16,300, and you can buy a put option or short call options around that level over there or this level over here, and then you can carry that trade. But remember, I don't really trade. I don't have the time to trade in intraday. So these are just guidance, and it's up to you how you want to take it. I just give my views, and always keep a stop loss in intraday. Intraday, it's even more important to keep stop losses, right? You know that by now. So again, the other short plan is you can add on to your shorts if we break 16,180 odd level. So that's the support. And if you break that, then we are probably going to head, towards, I think, even towards 15,800. No one knows, but there is a gap to be filled. If the large caps do well, then probably the gap, we might take support on the gap. So we might probably head to 16,150 odd, and then reverse, right? The targets, no one knows how far we can go, but just keep telling your stop loss as usual. Otherwise, right now, the setup is not really good for long. Maybe you can try long if we come here and reverse from 16,140, 45 levels, right on the gap. But for now, this is the trend line that I'll be watching. So that's the short-term bearish trend line on the 5-minute charts. So if you just connect that point, and just extend that, you will see that trend line, right? So until we break this and don't go higher, I think we will continue to remain, sideways to neutral, or probably short if we break below 16,200 levels, right? So that's the view on Nifty. If you have any questions on Nifty, do let me know. Again, I think very few people follow my Nifty advice for intraday trading. So if you do follow, do let me know in the comment section right now. Otherwise, we can, even, I know one person follows that. I think someone called Rakesh. But if there's someone else who's following this, do let me know so that, I know how many people are really following me for Nifty intraday plans. Okay. So that's my view on Nifty. So still Nifty is sideways. We are still forming dojis after dojis. So no clear trend as such after that massive move up, right? So moving into the next one, which is trade with Trendline Investor. So we had a massive sell-off today. We had 3 stop losses hit. So if you go to my orders, you will see that clearly. So we had at 9:15 we had Tata Steel Bhushan Limited, upper indices 11:44, and then 2 o'clock we had Angel Broking. Angel Broking came back and closed above our stop loss. That's just fine. Just ignore that stock and just move ahead, right? You don't have to really go back and stick to that stock. Now always look at your portfolio from a portfolio level. It doesn't matter one stock hits stop loss and then goes higher again. It doesn't really matter. Just ignore that stock and move on to the next stock. It hits stop loss, you just get out. Now, just by following a stop loss, today we have saved 1%. So if we hadn't sold our, depending on a stop loss, we have lost another 1% of our capital. Now, that's what is very important, to stick to your stop loss, right? Now, tomorrow we might recover, we might not recover. But as of today, when a stop loss is hit, the right decision was to exit your stocks. Right now, someone might, I'm sure there are around, how many people are there in the call? We have around 33 people, and I'm sure there are around 40% or 50% or even 60% who are holding to your stocks and hoping that this will head higher. And the moment you think that the stock might go higher, that's the point you should exit the stock, because hope will never work in markets. Now, tomorrow if the mid-cap index cracks big time because the big institutions knew there's some bad news coming, what would you do? You can't do anything. Your stop loss, your losses will only get more and more. Right, so the best thing to do is just exit your stop loss, and then if you want, you can look at so many stocks. Now, I'll show you how many stocks are there in our scanner. These are the stocks that we have in a scanner, latest CCI, and still you can make money with this set of stocks, right? Because these are stocks on a red day. So many stocks have ended up in positive and are entering momentum on the daily charts. So you don't have to really worry that there will not be any stocks. Don't get married to a stock really, unless you have really deep analysis from a fundamental perspective when you're doing that. Right, so those are the stocks that we had. So we are holding only Container Luck. So Container Luck again, probably I'll add more once it crosses 640. Right, so I'm keeping my pyramid position. So right now we are holding, I think around we're holding already 22%. Right, so probably add more 8%, 8,000 more just to make it 30,000, 30% of portfolio, but that will be about 640. Right, so if it goes above 640, then you can trail your stop to 620. What is the current stop? 615. Right, so you get around 150 rupees. So you can take up to right now 600 rupees. So if you trail a stop to 620, we get another 150 rupees. I'll just show it how it is here. So 620, so 432, right? So that's a 0.4% risk on your portfolio. You can make this around up to 1%. So you can add another 500 risk and add that quantity. If you don't know, do let me know in the comment section. I'll let you know. But I think I've done this so many times. All you have to do is divide 500 by your stop loss amount, and that will be a number of shares you can add, right? But don't cross 30%. We said we'll not cross 30% unless we are sitting in good profits. Right, so that's the Container Luck plan. But apart from this, I want to just show you a few other stocks. Now, first, let's look at weekly charts. Right, so on the weekly time frame, which are the stocks that have crossed 100? Right, so here, if you see, we have Ika Labs. This was there in the scanner that I talked about yesterday in this video. I had Network 18 plus Ika Labs. I had both. Right, so if you see, we have Network 18 still here. Right, so we have Patel, Siemens, and a lot of other stocks. Now from this setup, HA looks really good because stop loss is less. But right now, why I will not choose IPCA is because the stop loss is pretty deep. Right, so it's already gone up from here. We had just 4 continuous days. So even if you invest right now it is at 2,400. Your stop will be here. So that's 20% stop. Right, that's not really favorable. Probably I'll wait for a dip, and then if it goes high, then I look at that. So I will ignore such stocks. The next is Navin Fluorine. right? So now in fluorine again, so this is still not crossed that high. So even though it's here, I wanted to cross the high so that I know the stock has some power, because it can go to the high and get sold off in this weak environment, right? So Cummins and HAL. So let's look at Cummins. So Cummins again has crossed all-time high, so you can add Cummins, but the stop loss is around here, 882, and that's a 60-point stop. So Cummins could be one of your stocks. You can add Cummins. It also is probably reversing from this point over here. We had a breakout over here, and just looking at the long-term charts, we still have probably some more room to go. So probably around 1100, 1200 is the room. Possibly we can go to that level, right? So that's one of the stocks we can keep in our scanner, or we can keep in a watch list. Then you have HDFC is a very large cap. I'm not really interested, but if you want to look at HDFC, just go here and you'll see we kind of broke out from here, we went high, we came down again, we're heading higher. So you can add HDFC if you want, but I not really prefer really large caps because they might consolidate for many months. Now HAL is interesting setup. HAL is already in my, I've had it here, and HAL looks really good, right? Because HAL is right now, if you see, we're kind of reversing from this trend line over here. I'll just zoom in, yeah. So this is the trend line, right? We're kind of forming in the last, since the 5th of July, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of just sideways movement, right? And if you see, this is right around the previous high. The previous high was this, right? Now this is a good setup, right? I'm going to daily charts just to show you what's happening in the daily charts. So if you see here, we have a gap here, right? So this gap, the stock is coming right to the gap and it's just seeing consolidation. So probably the last set of sellers are getting absorbed here, and we kind of tried an attempt today to cross this high, right? So that's kind of a descending trend line, and so probably my order is going to be above 1160. The highest is 1157, so I'll place order above 1160 and I'll keep my stop loss to 1070, right? So I've done that here already. So if you see, I've kept 1050 as my stop and 1160, right? So 1150 in stop I kept here, I think, yeah, 1150 as my stop, and I'm buying above 1170. Now notice how I'm buying. I'm not buying here pullback because the market is so weak. I want the stock to head really high and tell me that I am very strong, and only then I'm placing the order. And if you notice the previous stocks, I bought the stock when it was here, but right now the market is weak and I don't really take that risk because tomorrow the stock can just go down, right? So that's how I'm buying it now. And also one more additional thing I want to tell you is, if you notice here, so previously we used to risk 1% of portfolio on each and every trade. Now right now I've dropped that to 500 rupees. So I'm calculating my quantity based on 500 rupees, which is 0.5% of my portfolio. So basically I'm controlling my risk. I don't want to lose much more money because the market is weak. In case tomorrow we have a reversal, and in case I see some follow through on the stocks that we are buying, then probably I will increase the risk more to 1%. But for now the market is completely weak. I don't want to miss out in case there's reversal. So I am placing my orders for HAL, right? The other stock that I'm looking at is India Mart. The India Mart is in a scanner, but otherwise from here, most of the stocks you can add. Probably if you want network 18, you can add. If you want network 18 is 50, it's at 45. You can probably keep that also in the watch list. So I'm going to update this watch list with all stocks. So network 18, right? Then I'm going to add. So how will you trade network 18, right? So I already added positions today, this morning, in my personal portfolio. But in case you want to add above this high of 54, right? Because it tried to go to 54, then it came all the way down, right? So 54 and stop loss is 47. Now this is a 7 rupee stop. Now this, for a short-term position trade, is too deep a stop loss. I can't get a good position, so I will ignore this stop. I want to stop less than 10%, right? If you see here, I've added India Mart. So India Mart, let's just take a look at it. So India Mart, if you see today, was in the green. There was not much sell-off in India Mart, and if you see, it's still consolidating. So I've kept a stop order above 7500, and I'm keeping my stop loss around 6950. So I will update this sheet probably in the next couple of hours, and then I can share the sheet with you, right? Or you can just look at the sheet again. But some of the stocks is Lakshmi Chemicals. Again, this came in the daily scanner. Now these are the stocks which came in the weekly scanner, and I'm just going to switch to the daily scanner. Right, crossed above 100, rest all remain the same. I'm going to run this, and I'm going to see which stocks is entering momentum mode on the daily time frame. Now we have a lot of stocks here, right? You can dynamic. This is already gone up 20%. There's no use. Escorts, probably yes, but let's look if a stop loss is less than 10%. Right? So the low is 1188, so 1180 probably, and the high is 1270, right? So this is less than 100 rupees stop, so you can go for it if you want. And also here, if you see, we've kind of broken out from that consolidation level, right? So this is a good setup. You can add this. We'll add this to our list. I'll add this to the list. Then we had Max Health. Sorry, I chose the wrong stock. So we had Max Health Insurance. Now, if you see, this is in a proper uptrend, right? It's going up continuously. Now, again, here, if you see the stop is 272, right now it's around 303. So if you keep a buyout about 308 and 270, so that's a 38-point stop, right? That's more than 10%, so just ignore it. So that's what I'm going to add. Probably Gland Pharma is also looking good. So here the stop is 3,775, let's assume. And let's assume 250, 400, right? So this is a 400-point stop. So this is less than 10%. So you can add above 4230 or 4245, however you want. So this is already given a breakout. Right? If you see, it's crossed previous highs, right? So in this case, you can add even at the current price, but to be safe, I'll add above 4245, which was today's high, and I'll keep a stop around 3775, right? So that's how I'm going to add Gland. So I'll add this all to the sheet and I'll let you know. Birlasoft also looks good. Let's look at Birlasoft. I think it's just been going sideways for many days. Yes, it's going sideways since 9th of June. Now in this case, again, you want to be careful, probably again, place an order above 421 and keep a stop around 390, right? That's a 30-point stop, right? So that's how I'm going to keep my stops. Trend, you can go through the stocks. I'll update the sheet and probably will place some of orders. We'll choose the least risk stocks and we'll place them in GDT, and I'll share the screenshot, before I sleep today. Right, so that's how we're going to do it. Otherwise, this sheet has been updated. The journal has been updated already, and we are sitting on a cash of 77% of cash. We just invested 22,000 rupees, right? And we had a major dip in our portfolio. So we went to almost 1.04 and we're down to 98.9. Now, even though we hit so many stops, we've just lost 1.5% of our capital. Now, if you remember, I initially said our portfolio hit is around 5%, which is if you are around 1 lakh, right, we lose maximum 5,000, and beyond, if you go below that, then we'll start cutting a position size from 1% per stock. We'll cut it from 1% to 5%, 0.5%, right? So today I'm doing that already because the market is weak. So even though we did not hit our 5% loss on the overall portfolio, I'm doing that already. I'm cutting my risk from 1% to 0.5% because the markets are weak and I don't want to lose more. Right now, that's how you control. In case the markets reverse, we'll automatically make money, so that doesn't matter to us really. Okay, so that's the update on the portfolio and this one. So in case you haven't exited the stocks, please go exit them tomorrow because we know what's going to happen. And this side, you see some stats have been updated. So right now, if you see, we have accuracy of only 70%, 30% accuracy. Out of 10 stocks, only 3 have been profitable, right? So we are a bad trader. But to be honest, the markets our entry time was really bad. We have entered right at the market peak probably, and that's why all the stops are getting hit. Otherwise, these trades are done phenomenally well in a normal bull market. And average RR is around 2 because here, if you see, the average losing amount is 4172 and the average winning amount, if you see here, is around 1308. Right, so average. So on an average right now, it's one. I think this calculation is wrong. I'll update it. But on average, if you see the RR here, so we are trading on an average of minus 0.3. So that's an average RR. So if we bet 1 rupee, we lose 30 paisa, right? Now if you see this alone, this stock alone has saved us from losing around 3.6% of our capital. Now that's what I say, or the Pareto principle, which says 80% of your profits come from 20% of the stocks. Now in this case, almost 90%, 99% of profits came from only one stock, right? So try to accept these losses and you will do well in markets, right? I think we're already 30 minutes past since we started. I'm going to start taking up questions and answering your questions. Good to see that we have 40 people today. I'll jump to the questions. Vijay, how to build a watch list during the crash? Anything other than RS? Vijay, I think I've answered your question. Also, along with this, try to look at the RS and see if it's rising. This is RS. If you have not seen this RS, you can go to my pin tweet and there is this indicator. Yeah, relative strength comparison. Right. So if you see here, I'm just going to remove this 10 EMA. right? So see, Birlasoft RS is increasing, right? It's always above the 50 moving average and it's increasing. So last few days it's beautifully increasing and we are above 100. So all signs of this one. So Likita also was in a scanner, but here the RS is dropping, right? And then India Mart, again here RS is kind of stable, right? So even though it's down, RS has been flat, right? So that's a good sign. And CCA also is just picking up. It's forming, it picked up momentum, but it's just still not lost its momentum. Okay, that's how you can do and build your watch list. Hemant, hi. So what is the difference between RSI and RS indicators? So Rahul, please Google about this. RSI was developed by, I think I forgot his name, but relative strength indicator is different and relative strength is different. So just Google, you will easily get this difference. I don't want to spend some time, or maybe, you can also go to my blog and search about RS. It is there. In case you don't know my blog, this is the blog. I think I've spoken about RS here in one of the, I'm sorry. Yeah, identifying stock strength, relative strength. Right, go through this blog and you will understand what relative strength is. Okay. So I hope I answered you, Rahul. Prashant, Jindal Poly. I'm not giving stock views today. Let's finish all the other questions and we'll come to stock views, Prashant. For your newsletter portfolio, pick Korean industry. It is correct to interpret downtrend. Can you explain your logic for stop loss at 500 base line? Why not 540? I think stop loss is very subjective, Jaydev. So I think when I recommended the first time, I'm writing Jaydev. Right. So I'm just opening this. So when I recommended the stock, it was here, right? So that's why I kept my stop loss, I'm not sure where I kept my stop. I think around below this low, I kept my stop around here. I'm not sure what exactly the stop is for Korean industries that I've kept, but I kept below this low, right? That's the reason I think. Otherwise, it's very subjective for me. If I'm entering a stock here, I'll keep my stop loss here. But if I see such big candles and I want to enter a stock, then I'll just keep it below the last red candle. That's also one of the ways to do it. Okay, so that's my view. Okay, Bhumik says entry intraday is very helpful. Thank you. Akash, any reason why you don't wait for daily closing basis stop loss for these positional trades? See, I've told this again many times, I think, Akash. For me, it all depends on how much money I'm going to lose, right? It doesn't matter whether it's closing basis stop loss, weekly closing basis or monthly closing basis. If I have a big position, I will exit the moment my stop loss hits, because the more I wait for a daily closing or a weekly closing, I'm going to lose more money. So in these positional trades, if you observed, I've kept 30% position size, and even a 1%, even a 10% drop, I can lose 3% of my capital. On days like today, let's say Jindal Poly fell almost 12% today, and if I had waited for closing day stop loss, I'd have lost 3% of my capital. So it doesn't matter, what kind of a stop loss strategy I follow. It all depends on how much position I'm holding. So if I'm holding a big position size, I'll be really aggressive or ruthless in my stop loss strategy. The moment it hits, I will exit. But if I'm just starting to build up my positions, right? I'll explain this in my Motilal Oswal trade, where I was just building up positions and then it went below, and I was waiting, in fact, for the weekly. I waited for the week to end and then only I added more positions. So I will do a video on that. But closing basis stop loss, if you have a big position, there is it doesn't make sense to hold on till you're closing, because a 10% fall can really hit your capital big time. Vallabh says, good to know the scanning process you go through select stocks. Thanks, Vallabh. Arun, how do we access the journal you are showing? I think it is there in the video section. You can access the journal. I'm not sure if you can edit it. Maybe I'll also share an editable version. Akshay says, Polyplex stop loss. We'll come to that. Kumaragiri says, can you check Hindustan Copper? We'll come to that. Are we creating GTT order for tomorrow for position trading with Trendline Investor? Yes, Dinesh. I will share the sheet today. I think probably 4 or 5 GTTs we'll keep. We will see how to do that. Right, Hemant, I couldn't find relative strength comparison trading view. It will not be there because I have not published it. I don't publish it because of some personal reasons. If you want, you can go and search on my pinned tweet or just check my blog. There is a code. You can take it and paste it. It's very simple. You can do that. Okay, so we still have some more time, I think. So let's take the stocks as well. Prashant asks view on Jindal Poly. Yeah, so Jindal Poly is kind of, came around the middle channel, kind of reversed. So I think if you're holding it, there's nothing really worrying. But if I were trading this, I'd have exited 980. 980 would have been my stop loss. That would just come out. Simple as that. I would not really wait for, closing bases and all that, because I usually trade big positions if I'm trading positions. So I'd have just simply come out of Jindal Poly. So right now, but it's an uptrend. If you can hold it, continue to hold, but today's low should be a stop loss. So today's lows are 927. So keep a stop around 925 or 920. Okay. So I hope I answered your question, Prashant. Any other stock questions? Yeah, Hindustan Copper. See, Hindustan Copper is in a downtrend. I'm not sure why. If you're holding it, the copper commodity itself is doing really well, but this stock is not doing well. So it has broken a very key support, right? So I expected it to head higher, to be honest. I was holding this, in fact, but exited, I think, around 160, 156 odd I exited. I think 165. Yeah, 165 is when I exited here, because that was trying to move up, but then it broke down here, right? So I exited here. After that, I never entered the stock again. But if you see, it's forming continuous lower highs, lower lows, right? So this stock is in a very strong downtrend as of now, and I would not look at this until it crosses 150, 160 levels. Until it crosses 160, I will not look at this. Also, the stock has fallen really bad today, 6%. I think the last key support on the weekly charts is this level. So the last support on weekly charts is 110, right? So this low 114 is the level that is the last support. Now, if you close below 114, or even if you close below 118 this week, then that will not be a good sign for Hindustan Copper. Then probably we're heading to 70 odd levels, right? So that's my view on Hindustan Copper. Any other questions? So good to add Coromandel current market price. I've told you the strategy how to add the stocks. So I've clearly mentioned how I'm going to add. So at current market price, I'll not add. I'll add only probably about 920, 930 levels. So until it crosses 930, I will not add. So even though stock goes down, it came up again. It's broken the previous low. So it is a pure downtrend, right? So short-term downtrend. Now when it will come back up, no one knows. So don't add until it crosses 930 odd levels. Okay. So Dinesh, I hope I answered your question. Venkatesh, I had asked Tata Steel Bhushan Limited, my trading stop loss is 92.5. Really good. Venkatesh, you exited. The stock actually reached 100.9. Should be better to sell 50% quantity and hold balance. Now, the stop loss strategy is completely dependent on how much you hold, right? So if you're holding a 30% position, it could be a good strategy to exit half, but you should know how much you lose if the remaining, and what is the stop loss for the remaining quantity. If you're okay with the remaining quantity losing a certain amount, then you can continue to hold it. There are multiple ways to trade in markets, multiple ways to keep stop losses. It is completely up to you to define your stop loss strategy. But yes, partially booking and holding the remaining is also a good strategy. Okay, Akshay, Polyplex and LGL find stop loss. I think the stop loss strategy might not be clear, right? So it is swing high, swing low. So again, if you see here, Polyplex has broken a swing low. Right, so that's a big red candle, right? So if I'm a short-term trader, I would exit it. But if you're an investor, go to the weekly charts, and here I'd keep probably stop loss 1090. But remember, that's a 40% stop from the current, 30% stop from the current levels. So you should be ready to accept that you lose 30% from the top. So basically, if you look from the top, from this point, you should be ready to accept that you'll be losing 30% of the money that you saw. That's the problem with people. They'll say, okay, I'm fine with the stop loss, but later when the actual price comes, they'll keep holding on to it. So don't do that mistake. Okay. NGL, Finechem. Again, this is a circuit stock, right? You see circuits, right? Every time there's circuits. So I don't really hold such circuit stocks, but if you want a stop loss, short-term trader, you should have already got out. But probably if you're an investor, then your stop loss should be around 1990, right? So that's 1900 should be a stop loss, right? Again, now see from here, from the top, you should be ready to accept you're ready to lose around 50% of your portfolio, right? If you're an investor, right? Because a stock which goes up so much will also come down so much, and you should be ready to accept that. If you can't accept that, then just follow the strategy I follow: swing high, swing low, as simple as that, and exit if it breaks that pattern, right? So that's how you do it. Tanla, Adin, here, then I hope you're doing well. I think it's just in a consolidation mode. I really don't give an investment perspective or a long-term perspective. For me, if the stock goes higher, I will buy. So if it goes above 1020, 1030, buy only if it goes above that. And if it doesn't go above, I'll not even look at that stock for now. So long-term perspective, no one knows what can happen to a company. And no one knows whether people are selling here or buying here. So just keep above 1025, I'll keep an buy order. If it goes above 1025, I'll buy. and I'll keep a stop loss and I'll just hold it. So I really don't give long-term advices, Adin. So that's my view. Suhas, Kajaria setting up nicely about 1055. What's your view? Let's look at. I think Kajaria also came in my scanner today. I'm not sure. Yeah, the setup looks amazing. It is forming a cup and handle. It is a beautiful cup and handle, but it needs to cross again that high, right? So only then you can be confident about this trade, and then you can add more quantities. But yes, it has already broken out of this downward trend, kind of retested this, and it's just going sideways. You're right, it's a good setup. Akash says, how do you manage work and trading plus posting videos? Is your job related to markets? Any tips on better time management? I really have a strict time management. So when I work, but after market hours, I have 1 hour, 45 minutes for live, and then I have a couple of hours for my trading and all that. And I do videos after that. But otherwise, most of my videos are done on weekends. I usually don't do videos apart. Like I did Network 18 yesterday because I had time. But otherwise, I don't really do videos on weekdays. I do it on weekends. I hope that answered your question, Akash. Sagar, view on Rajasthan stock has had a steep fall post a strong rise. Also a view on GNA Axles. Let's look at it. Rajasthan, yeah, again, circuit stock. Now, if you are ready to hold the circuit on the top, you should be ready to hold the circuit on the down, right? It's simple as that. And this stock has picked up momentum, it's gone up. Now, probably, you should wait for this trend line to break. This black trend line should break, and then you can exit. But for now, keep a stop loss around that that low. 1600 should be a stop loss, and if it goes below that, please exit. Even from investment perspective, I think this has done a really steep rise, and if it breaks this trend line, plus if it goes below 1600, exit that stock. But if you're an investor, then you need to take a call. I can't really take a call. Sagar, I hope that answered. GNA Axles, again, similar fall, right? So when you have a steep move up, you're going to have at least some correction before the stock heads again. But it looks good. If you're an investor, probably can keep a stop loss, around 400 odd levels. But again, as I always say, you should be ready to accept that move from top to down, a 46% drop. You should be able to digest that drop, and it can head higher from here because that's a very strong support. It might reverse, but you need to be able to consider that volatility. Most of the beginners in markets, this is a problem with even with anyone in markets, right? You, after seeing a stock going up 100%, it drops 50%, then you can't book that. Even though you're in 50% profits, you don't want to book that profits, right? Because your mind just can't accept that you have lost that 50% money, right? So that's my view. Sagar, I hope I answered. Hindustan Zinc, I already gave my view yesterday. I think it's also in a downtrend, right? We exited here. If you remember, we exited around 330 odd levels. We exited. It's breaking all trend lines. It's just going lower, right? So the view is completely down. It's on the downside, Kumragiri. I hope that answered. Rahul, if you could see Accuracy Shipping bought today at 98. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's right around support, right? So probably expect a reversal. It was just a move up and a correction, right? So keep a stop around 83. That should be a stop. If you're a short-term trader, if you're an investor, you can keep around 70 odd level. But I'd say it was a good buy today, Rahul. Your view on Cummins, is it an inverted head and shoulders pattern? Inverted, I don't even see, it's broken out, right, Rinald? So it is, okay, you are saying inverted, yes. It's probably an inverted head and shoulders, yes, you're right. And is moving higher. But the key point here is that trend line, right? It kind of reversed around that same trend line here, and it's heading higher. So it is kind of an inverted head and shoulders, but not perfect one. Probably if you go to the weekly charts, you will see that much clearly maybe. Yes, that's on the weekly. Yes, you can see it's a perfect inverted head and shoulders, and it is moving strong. And also it's kind of consolidated around that highs and is heading higher, right? So this setup looks good, can head much higher. So that's my view. Deepak, holding quite a pick of Hindustan Zinc. If it's been a downturn last few days, any views? Deepak, I think you know markets better than me. It has been a downtrend. In fact, I just told my view. We exited here around 330. We did enter the stock, predicting this was a move up, but then it broke out. I think the next support probably is going to come to around 286 odd levels. Or there is a minor support here, but that's a very short-term support. But if you break that, then it's we're going to head lower. But I think right now it's in a downtrend. So probably we can head, go sideways and head towards this line. also. I'm not quite sure, but that's another trend line support over there. Right, I'm sorry, someone also asked before, but that's probably another support. We're going to head towards the trend line maybe, and then reverse. Okay, so that's my view, Deepak. Dinesh was seeing your newsletter stocks. Still few stocks on some price range without hitting stop loss, but some are in downtrend. Should we consider that or wait for price to cross high? So in the current market situation, wait for the price to cross the previous swing highs or the previous highs. That's the only way you can look at stocks which are really strong. Right now, I've already covered some ways how to enter the stocks. Please consider the previous high and enter only above that high, because there's a very good chance that the stock can kind of go towards those highs and reverse, because there can be a sell-off which happens. If this is really a sell-off which is happening, then that will really happen. Otherwise, then we might always cross previous high and head much higher. Likita, I think Likita is good. Likita is one of the stocks in my radar as well. If you see, it's kind of took support around the trend line. So this is a trend line, the primary trend line. And it also is around that support over here. So even I recommended this in the newsletter, and we're still holding this in the newsletter as well, right? So 380 is your stop. You can keep 375 also as a stop loss in case you want. It looks good. Avat sugar stocks had a crazy fall today. In fact, many sugar stocks fell 8%, 10%. Right now, if you see, it's kind of come to the trend line today. I'm looking on the linear charts. It's kind of come close to the trend line. So probably expecting reversal tomorrow. I'm not sure. But again, if you want to add, like Avat Sugar, add only above 520. I will not add above that. Or if you want to be really conservative, then above 550 odd levels. But 550, if it crosses 520, probably it's a good setup. You can add. So that's my view. But Avat Sugar has a very strong support around 380 levels. So 380 is a really strong support. So if you get 380, probably it's a good buy. But wait for the reversal before you just buy, right? That's my view. Rsa Logistics has a nice setup. Can you check the stock also? Yes, let's look at it. Yes, Rsa Logistics is really good. Today in a weak market, it is forming higher highs, higher lows. In a weak market, it has done well. In fact, you can buy the stock even right now. Just looking at the long-term charts, yes, it's a really good setup. Thanks for bringing this to my notice, because I'm going to add this also in the watch list for our Trade with Trendline Investor series. Okay, so this is a good setup. So we're just probably going to cross. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 days inside, weeks of inside that big candle, and you can take initial position right now, keep a stop around 290 odd, and add more once you have the next swing forming. All right, so that's the view on Rsa Logistics. So I hope that helped. Otherwise, I think view on SAIL and advanced enzymes, Angad is asking. So SAIL, I think I mentioned this in starting itself. SAIL has a massive support around 115 odd levels. If that breaks, then probably we're heading to 70, 80 odd levels. But right now we are around a major support zone. Just watch out for any reversals. But I will add the stock again, as I said, above 145 level, above that high, right? So that's my view on SAIL. Advanced enzymes, yeah, it's kind of around that support zone, right? We're still not close below this low. Our stop loss, when we were looking at this, our stop loss 390. So we're still not close below 390, just going sideways. So again, looks good. But enter only above, 300, 435 odd levels. Okay. So Kitex is in around trend. Can we take position again? Yes, Kitex. Wait for a candle reversal, guys. So don't just take a position just because you want to take. You need to wait for a candle reversal. This is in a proper downtrend since that move up. So probably you need to wait before you enter. Wait for at least some swing high to form. Now, if this stock has to go up, it will not go straight like this. So what it will do is it will go like this, and then head higher. Now, probably you want to buy above that point or above that point. Don't buy right now. Have some patience. This market, you need to have some patience before, if you want to make more money in the future, right? So Rupa, I think we'll stop with this question. Last question from TCS. I don't know what's his name, but this is the last question I'll be taking. Rupa is again, around major support here. So if it closes below this, then you probably want to exit. And Visaka Industries, again, I think that's a short-term trader support. We've still not closed below that. That's a good sign. But if you're invested in the stock, then probably you want to keep around 640 as a stop, right? On the weekly charts. And also here, the problem is we've been rejected right around the all-time high. So probably you're going to form a base and then head higher, right? So I see probably might come down this is just my prediction. Till 580 also we might come down, right? So, but for now, just keep a stop. If you're investor, 640 is your stop. If you're short-term trader, probably today's low could be a stop, right? So that's my view. Turtle Trader asks, should we consider stocks which might be in a journey from channel top to channel bottom? Example, yes, Scots. Yes, if you're getting stocks at channel bottom and if you see a reversal sign, you can consider that stocks. But if it's at the channel top, don't wait for a breakout. It might probably not happen in this market. Okay, Yashash, last question maybe. LIC Housing Finance. I think we spoke about this yesterday again. It's a strong downtrend. Probably we are right around that support, around the trend line support. Wait for a green signal tomorrow, but add only, above 475 odd levels. Until then, I won't even look at this one. Okay, so I think I've answered all your questions, guys. Keep your stop loss, keep your risk. Don't lose. Know how much money you lose if your stop loss hits, and don't have FOMO and just buy stocks tomorrow if we reverse and head higher, right? Unless the previous swing high is crossed,